Welcome back to Twin Springs Garage. Tonight I'm working on something a little different. This is a PTO belt pulley that goes on one of my grandfather's old tractors, an Allis-Chalmers D17. My dad just gave this to me not long ago. I didn't even know it existed. I'd never seen it on a tractor since I was a little kid. But apparently it was used at one time because you can see all the wear on the pulley. And I've never seen one on an Allis-Chalmers D17. I know they have a spot there to accept it, but I've never seen it mounted. So I thought, well, if I have it, put it on the tractor. What I was concerned about is, you can tell at one time, it leaked a lot of oil through this outer seal. And before I put it on the tractor, I want to take care of those leaks. And I did quite a bit of research online, YouTube, looking for videos about these and what the seals look like, and maybe even source part numbers and stuff like that. And I really was kind of coming up empty-handed. So that's why I'm making this video, because maybe it will be helpful, because I think I've sourced what I need. I'm still waiting on one part, but there's an O-ring up here on this shaft. Behind this flange, the shaft goes into the housing on the tractor. There's an O-ring. Now, when Dad handed me all these parts, this was what was left of the O-ring, but it was enough to at least measure the diameter of it. And then I mic'd the inside of the groove where it sits. Found a company that made them. Ordered a few. It seems to work pretty good. Now, there's an inner seal in here, or well, I guess call it the outer seal, that was a little more difficult. But anyhow, I'll pull the pieces out, show them to you. Like I said, it could be helpful. There is part numbers on these bearings, so anybody out there is needs bearings, at least they'll have some part numbers of the originals. So we'll get started with that. So the first thing is a nut. No big deal. Now this nut there's a little groove on it here. I don't know if you can see it right there. That lines up with a keyway in the shaft, and then the manufacturer must have pinged that over. So you kind of got in there, you got to get in there and kind of pry it back, so when you back the nut out, you don't jack up the threads. So after that, then there's a washer, and then I'll call it the main drive gear. It's got some inner splines on it. And then there's these two really thin, like, shim washers. Not sure what they do, but they're there for a reason. And then there's this inner bearing. I was able to simply get that off with just a simple wheel puller. And then there's the hub. And this is that O-ring I was talking about, right in here. It sits inside the housing of the tractor. Now, there would normally be this bearing sitting there, and I've already pulled that off of there. And this is the outer seal, the part that I really was after, this guy. And I'll show all those parts to you. Okay, so we'll start from the outside in. So next to the pulley would be this, I guess called oil seal. And this is, I assume, the original. So there's part number 35028 and the CR. I'm not sure what that means, but I was able to find a company online that was able to cross-reference that number. I'm still waiting on this seal. Of course, when it comes in, hopefully it looks like this. It's basically just a steel washer with a big hunk of rubber in the middle. And then this is the outer bearing. So this here, there's the make, and there's a part number, 35, it looks like an 86 on that. And then the hub, a little closer look at the O-ring again there. And this will be the inner bearing. This one's got a little surface rust on the outside, but the bearing itself's in good shape. So I don't plan on getting new ones of these. And this is a 3581. And then those little shim washers, then the main drive gear, and then the washer and nut. Now, over here, I was taking this apart. That inner bearing sits right on this little lip here and goes that direction. And like I said, little simple wheel puller pulled that right off. The hard one was this outer bearing. Sits on this little raised collar. I don't know if you can see it. Little raised collar there. I had to get a bearing separator, which is this contraption here, and that worked pretty good. I mean, it took a lot of torque, but eventually popped it off. Now, when I put it all back together, I'm going to have to use a bearing press. I do not have one of those, but I know a guy, so that shouldn't be an issue. So just want to show you that. Like I said, we're waiting for this seal here. When that comes in, then we'll check it out. If all looks good, we're just going to put it back together. Well, the seal finally came in. This one on the left here is a new one. I guess it's a Timken. Just in kind of comparison, I measured them. The outside diameter is pretty much the same. The inside seems to be the same too. Probably the biggest difference here is the thickness. I mean, this guy here's right around 3/8 thick. This thing, I didn't really measure it, but you could tell it's a lot thinner than the old one. But like I said, I couldn't source this original anymore, and this is the best I could find. So, I mean, it's got the part number on it here, but it's easier to see on the box. So, let's see here. There it is. There, 411376, made in Mexico. So, I mean, I'm going to put it on. And who knows, maybe it'll work better than the original. I don't know. But those are my options. Here's the O-ring package that came in. So it's got the part number on it, the company, the size. Here's the paperwork also. Right there is the company I got it from. And part number, the size again of the O-ring. So, you know, if y'all are looking for one of those, that should help you source one of these O-rings. Now, like I said before, there is a minimum order. That's why I have 3 more of these things. But that's a good thing. In case I break it, I got more to replace it.